Hey, everybody, it's me, John Ward, and Donald Wills. Hey,
What's up,
Donald, how are
everybody?
you?
Doing
Hey,
good. How
hey,
you
hi,
doing?
Donald. Hey, everybody out there. And we are back. We are back for another film discussion. We took some time off. Stuff happened, personal stuff for both of us. And so now we can start doing film discussion again. And this one is going to be we were supposed to discuss this in December, and which is the Escape Plan movies, Sylvester Stallone, and then in January do the Expendable movies. So we're a little behind. So this video for this month will be for March will be the Escape Plan films, and then next month will be the Expendables movies. So, but as you guys can see, we're in two new locations.
Yep.
So I am in my new apartment in my office. And Donald, where are you?
I'm currently at my father's place. Back in um I, I don't care how I tell people. We unfortunately, part of the reason I'll take most of the blame for as long as we've been away. My father unfortunately passed away back in January.
Oh, I'm
Um
sorry.
December, it was we were, you know, helping him out with some stuff. Um, just all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, just
Oof.
basically he went into cardiac arrest, and rest is history. So, so that
Yeah,
was
I'm sorry. That sucks.
yeah. I mean, but you know what? I'm I'm keeping the faith here. You know what I mean? I just thank God that we were here when it happened. So we at least gave him a fighting chance.
Okay, that's okay. That's good. That's good. So yeah, so we are. So hopefully this will take your mind off of some of that, and so we're. How did you watch these films? So there. This is how I got them. I got them on the Blu-ray, the three movies, and it's got its slipcase. You got
I
the
got the
same thing?
same. I got the same thing.
Slipcase too?
Yep.
Nice. And I'm a little disappointed in this, but I understand why they did it. They took Escape Plan 1 and 2 and put them on the first disc, and then they put Escape Plan 3 on the second disc when it really should be Escape Plan and then Escape Plan 2 and 3. But I get it of why they did this. So it's just when the movies came out. But yeah, so we have Escape Plan 2, Hades, and then it just says Escape Plan, even though it's Escape Plan 3, The Extractors. And I am a little disappointed in disc 1 because it has no special features at all. None.
I will say that was probably some of my disappointment as well. I was kind of hoping, because especially when 2 and 3 were direct to video, right? Direct to DVD, right? Like,
Yeah.
didn't even have theatrical at all. Didn't go to
No, I
theaters at
think
all.
the second one played briefly, and then I don't think the third one played at all. Maybe briefly,
Okay,
but
because I know the first one did. The first
yeah,
one
yeah,
was in,
that was like a major movie. Yeah.
so it would have made sense for this one to have the special features and these ones be bare bones. But evidently they decided, but since these are older movies, let's just throw these on. And I guess this collection came out right around the time the third one came out. That's the only thing I'm assuming.
Yeah, but if you bought Escape Plan by itself, it would probably have all the special features.
Yeah. So I may
So,
actually go. I may actually do that. I may actually try to track some of these down individually, so I can. Well, maybe the first two. Uh, I might just be crazy and just get all three individually.
I mean, I would probably. I was interested in the history of Escape Plan 2. And Escape Plan, I would want behind the scenes stuff because that was like a major movie, and it was the first team up between Stallone and Schwarzenegger. So something that we've wanted from the 80s, but it never happened.
Was this movie
I, huh?
Was this before Expendables?
I believe so.
Okay.
I think so. Let me see here. So Escape Plan was 2013. And let's see, let me just click on Stallone here and get to his movies. Let's see. Come on. I hate when Wikipedia does this. Like they lump everything together. Maybe 2000. Okay, maybe I can look here. Why doesn't it just give a list of his movies? It's like a friggin' novel in here.
They're gonna make you work for it.
Yeah. Okay, wait. Expendables. Here we go. Where did I just see it? No, Expendables, I think, was first. 2010. Well, which one was he in?
He was in the first one. So this would be the first. This would be the first like theatrical movie that they were both together in, like, you know, start like throughout the whole movie, because Expendables he was only in like first part of the movie, I think, and then like at the end, I think.
Yeah, he's in 1 through 3. So 2010, 2012, and 2014. And I did see something that said that they did ask him to be in part 4, but he was busy. He was like shooting something else, so he couldn't be in it.
Yeah.
So maybe Escape Plan is the first film that they're both in like together. Like it's, you know, it's not like
not just like a brief thing at the beginning or at the end, because if
yeah.
I'm not mistaken, like he wasn't even like Arnold was in all the movies, but he only had like little parts.
I think yeah, like he was the guy that was giving them their orders or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he would only be at the very beginning, but Escape Plan, he's throughout the whole thing. So maybe that's what they mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. And so what did you? I did not see this in the theater. I waited. I think I don't know how I saw it. I might have just rented it or saw it on Showtime or HBO or whatever it was. I don't remember, but I know that I found this at Target, and I think it was only like $7. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to pick that up. Plus, it had the slipcase. So, but what did you think of Escape Plan, the first one?
I enjoyed it. It was basically, I mean, like you said, Stallone and Schwarzenegger in the same movie at the same time. I mean, that was basically a dream everyone's wanted since the '80s. Why they waited this long to when they're both, you know, pretty much, no offense to Stallone or Arnold, but halfway in the grave at this point.
Oh, I think it's ego. A lot of it's probably ego, and in the '80s, star power. You know,
Yeah.
who's bigger on the poster, whose name comes first, who gets paid more, who has more dialogue, who has more action, and they probably just couldn't settle on anything.
Possible.
You know, that's until I guess both of them maybe mellowed out, and the Expendables was a way of getting all those guys together.
Yeah.
And I just got Expendables 4. A friend sent it to me, Gail, and so thank you, Gail. And I decided not to wait because I haven't seen it, and so I put it on, and yeah, I could see why it bombed. So it's
I have not seen it yet, so I'm looking forward to it.
I'll say this, it is CGI the movie. Most of it takes place on like a like one of those big freighter ships with all like the containers. And you could tell that the ship is in like a warehouse. All the sea is CGI, the sky is CGI. I think maybe there might be when they pull back to see the whole ship, that's in the ocean. But when you're with the cast, it's all CGI. There is a shitload of CGI in that movie. But I was entertained. I wasn't bored. But it's yeah, I'll be curious to what you think, is I'm going to rewatch it for our video next month.
Yeah.
So I have them
I still need to get the director's cut of the first one. I have the skill, but I'll show off when we get to that video. But I think I need to get that in the director's cut of 3. The director's cut of the unrated
so
cut.
yeah, I didn't know. I got the 3-pack. And so it has 1, 2, and 3. And the 3-pack, the first one is the theatrical cut, and then the second one is fine. And then the third disc is the theatrical cut and the unrated version or extended version, whatever they call it. And then I'm like, oh, well, let me see if there's any other. And then I that's when I saw that there was the Expendables like director's cut, which is better than the theatrical one, because I've seen 1, 2, and 3. Well, now I've seen part 4, but so yeah, that would be an interesting discussion, because I'm thinking maybe we could, like, what 80s people would we put in it, like who they, somebody maybe who they left out, or who would we remove, like, well, that person's not very actiony, so why are they in there? So maybe we could do something like that with it.
Ronda Rousey.
Oh. Well, I would say for part 4, Megan Fox. But I don't know why she's in there. But yeah, I enjoyed Escape Plan. I think that you really got to let go of logic.
Yeah.
Because it seems to, what they give you to have it make somewhat of sense or something, or maybe just to confuse you or manipulate you or whatever you want to call it, is when Stallone, at the beginning, he's at a prison. And for people who don't know, he is an expert at breaking out of prisons. That's his job. He wrote the book on it. And so people will take him, and only a few people know it, and they make up a whole fake persona. And then he goes into the prison, and he has to figure out, Sherlock Holmes style type of thing, how to get out of the prison. And so when he explained, now that sound is back.
I'm not hearing sound.
Okay, now it's gone. Yeah, this is the second time that sound came up. Hopefully it's not on the recording. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Hopefully it's just my headset. But this is the first time I've ever heard this sound before. Weird. But so when he gets out of the first prison, he explains to the warden how he did it. And so the warden's like, well, how did you do it? And he goes, well, the visiting area is next to the laundromat, which is next to the workout area, which is next to the entertainment area, which is next to, and they show, like, computer wise, they show how he did it through, like, maps, on the kind of like matrixy type maps that pop up. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm believing this. I'm not sure if I'm buying this or not, because it seems like it's that you could just say anything. Like if you were writing an Escape Plan movie, you could just go, oh, well, okay, my jail cell was next to the workout area, which is next to the like hospital, which then has an air vent. From that air vent, I could then go to the workout yard. From the workout yard, that is where the new inmates come in from there. And it just seemed like, to me, like, I don't know, I'm not buying this. I'm not fully buying how he got out. And I know that there are professional people who do this. Like they're criminals and they break out of jails or prisons and they keep being put into higher level places and they still break out. And like there's the famous guy from Alcatraz, you know, like back in like the 50s or something, 50s or 60s, who escaped from Alcatraz when nobody else had ever done it. So I know there's people out there, but I didn't fully buy into what he was telling me or the audience on how he got out of there, out of the first prison. Did you have any issues with that? Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Sorry, guys, we're having technical issues.
How about now?
Now I can.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Can you hear me? You can hear me?
No, I can't hear you. Hold on a minute.
Speak to me, John. Speak to me.
I am here. You are there.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. We're back. We're back. We're back. Okay. All right.
Okay, so let's
I
start
thought,
from the very beginning again. Hey, everybody, it's John Ward, and I'm here with. Oh, no, we'll just continue on. Okay. So what did you think of the first breakout? Yeah. Did you buy into it? Did you believe it?
Well, it's Hollywood. I mean, can you really expect Hollywood to actually get, you know, logic, everything straight? You know what I mean? I mean, I watch a lot of these movies, you know, just to enjoy it. I mean, I highly doubt if anybody, even the most technological, like even the people that know how to break out of prison, even though they keep getting put in higher secure prison, probably wouldn't be able to escape a place like that.
Yeah,
But then again, if he can't escape, what kind of movie would that be?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see. This is where I wish that it had, maybe I will buy the first movie at least by itself, because I would like to hear maybe if the writers have something to say, like, oh yeah, we went to a prison and they let us take a tour, and then we kind of, because I guess that it can't be 100% correct, because then if they do show these to prisoners, then that's how they would escape. So it can't be 100% correct, but
It would be just like if Walter White from Breaking Bad actually showed you how to make crystal meth, then everyone would know how to make crystal meth.
true. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well, the example that I always seem to use is the movie Devil Bat with Bela Lugosi and the movie Outbreak with Dustin Hoffman. There was a book that came out very, very, very long time ago, and it was comparing films. So Devil Bat was made in the 50s, and Bela Lugosi plays a scientist. He takes these little bats and he puts them in this machine and he throws the switch and it cuts to his face, the light's all on it, and then he pulls the switch and it cuts back to the machine, and then the bat's like this big. And then he sprays it with this cologne because these guys stole the cologne from him, and he's getting revenge because he didn't get enough money for it. So then he lets the bats go, and the bats kill everybody. It's never explained how the bat goes from this big to this big, except that he's just pulling a switch, and now it's this big. So the author of the book says that is completely plausible because there is no explanation. You can't refute it. But if you watch Outbreak, everything is wrong because there is so much explanation that all of this stuff about the virus and how it travels and the wording that they're using is wrong. It's totally wrong. But if they had just, which is why I think with most virus movies or zombie films, that's why they don't tell you. You know, most movies just begin with the zombie outbreak because it's like, well, fuck, now we have to explain it. Oh, no, we don't. It just starts. So Stallone gives so much explanation, which I guess he has to. It's kind of like the game Clue, that for me, I wasn't fully buying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And see, that's why I really don't like when a lot of movies over explain things. And I don't think through movies like you do, because you're like, well, how does this work? How does that work? And that's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's people that are like, well, but I'm like, I don't always think. I'm like, yay, explosions and action and people getting the crap kicked out of each other. Yay, entertainment.
Well,
So, I
and
mean, but yeah, and the perfect example you said about like the viruses. Even better example, the Force in Star Wars never needed to be explained. We didn't need to know that the metachlorans or whatever
metachlorians, yeah.
metachlorians. We didn't need to know that your blood type needs to have about so much blood chlorine in order for you to even be sensitive to the Force. We don't need to know that, people. We don't need to know any
No,
of that.
and Obi-Wan explained it perfectly fine. You know, it binds us. He gives that little brief example of what it is, but where it is more of a kind of like a philosophy and things
Like a
that.
religion almost, it's a faith-based, like, like almost like Christianity. It's like we believe in God. Some people don't believe in God. We're not here to argue that conversation.
Oh, let's
I'm just
debate
saying
that.
no.
But it's funny that you say that. I'm glad that you did, because in the first escape plan, I went, oh, really? Oh, this is funny. So Jim Caviezel plays the warden, and he played Jesus, the Son
Yes,
of God, in the Passion of the Christ.
I
Now,
picked up on that when I was making the thumbnail for this movie or for this
okay,
video. I
but
was like, whoa.
did you pick up on this? Sam Neill, who is the doctor, played Damien, the son of the devil, in Damien Omen 3. So in the same movie,
Okay,
you have the son of Christ, the son of God, and the son of the devil in the same movie together, at times in the same scene.
mind blown, John. Mind blown.
So, and I love Sam Neill. He's one of my favorite actors. So I always thought that
So,
was
so what you're trying
funny.
to tell me, John, is that this movie is a conspiracy theorist against, people of religion because they really want people to know that God and the devil are the same person or something like that.
Well, what I would say is
It was a joke,
speaking
John. It was a joke.
as a non-believer, I would say that the Jim Caviezel Jesus Christ warden who is torturing people, and the Sam Neill, who's the son of the devil, who's the doctor, who is there to save people and heal people, is the nicer of the two. So there you go. There you go. I
Oh
think we
my!
just should have had Mel
I
Gibson in this. But Mel Gibson is in Expendables 3.
yeah,
So we have the
yeah.
director of Passion of the Christ working with Stallone in And yeah, we're still in the Expendables 3.
Okay, this is where the conspiracy theory falls apart.
So they're
Stuff
yeah,
like that. Like
and
95% of conspiracy theories, right?
the second film is called Hades.
Yeah, there you go.
So did you like how this film was made? Because I when we get to part 2, I have some conspiracy theories actually on part 2. But did you like how this one was made? Like how it
I
looked? And...
I enjoyed this movie from start to finish. I mean, my wife joined me on watching these. So, and she I'll tell you when we get to part 2 and 3, I will tell you something. No, I had to watch 2 and 3 twice, so
Oh, that
we'll go.
yeah, I was gonna say that
But
memorable, huh? That good?
two. Well, we'll get to that when we get to it.
Yeah.
But this movie was very well shot. I really now the one thing I will say is how you're saying about you you're saying about how it doesn't make a lot of sense how he's able to escape the prison. My thing is, how were they able to get that big of a freaking prison on a ship? And supposedly that deep down.
It would basically be 2 levels. They would gut out the whole bottom of the ship, and the top is a facade.
I mean, he's like, dude.
Oh my God, what's going on over there? We are having beyond technical difficulties here.
Hold on.
I remember my first time using a camera.
Hold on. Off to a great start, man. Off to a great start.
Yeah. Okay, well, since we have that, let's start from the beginning again. Hey, everybody, it's me, John Ward, and I'm here with Donald Wills. So,
No.
so you were saying with the ship?
Basically, the ship kind of don't make too much sense. I mean, how big that prison is supposed to be. I mean, come on. I'm not sure if, again, it's Hollywood. We're not too many people are like us. We don't sit there and figure out what actually makes sense, what doesn't make sense.
Well, I mean, I've been told by people and asked that, wouldn't you enjoy movies better if you weren't so critical? Just enjoy it for what it is. And it's like, well, I guess, but if some things have to make sense, like when you watch the first Scream movie,
like the midichlorians and the Force.
And then Anakin built C-3PO because everything is connected. You watch the first Scream movie and you think it's one killer, and then you then realize, oh my God, what is going on here? I am so sorry, people. Thank you for sticking through with this. I would start over again, but we're already almost 30 minutes into it. Yeah, so that's maybe Donald will be back, but yeah. So let's until he comes back. Let's. So this is a pretty good set. If you can find it with its slipcover, I would suggest getting it. Like I had mentioned, there's no special features, but there are special features on the third movie. And so you get a couple there. What is going on?
I have no idea, man. Yeah, I think it's the Hollywood. The Hollywood elites, man.
Are you touching things?
I'm
don't touch
trying to
anything.
I'm trying to hold the phone up, man. I don't have my crap today, man. I don't have all my crap. I don't know what happened to it. I had
you
a
gotta.
regular. I had a
Oh, you're using your phone. You're not using like a laptop or a computer.
I'm using my phone, so I have a
Is it
like
fully charged?
it's fully charged. I mean,
It should be able to just sit there, and then if you don't touch it, it should stay, right?
problem is the shelf I have it on is kind of sliding around. So let's try. We're gonna try. Sit down, right? Just right here, and it's gonna be a good little. Let's see how this works.
Don't move.
It's said and done.
Well, put something down at the bottom of it.
That's what I'm trying to do. Got all these cords connected to it now.
See, now I got that noise back in my ear. Now it's gone. I never realized how difficult it could be to just make a phone stay.
I've noticed, right? All right, continue.
Okay, yeah, just don't hit it or anything or move it. So I'm forgetting what Scream. So when you watch the original Scream and then you realize at the end that there's two killers when you thought that there was only one, I went back, and probably a lot of people did this because I think there's even videos on it, like who killed who, and all that. And then you watch the movie. Is it possible for this character to go around the house and come in through the garage while the other character is upstairs? And it's like, okay, does this make sense? Does it make sense for this character to be outside the front door while the second killer is inside behind Sydney, something like that? So you go through and you try to make sense of it. That okay, this works. Maybe not 100%, but it works. And that's the thing with these kind of like specs and the maps and the like plans for the prisons and stuff didn't exactly work for me. It looked more like Resident Evil, like the first one where they show you the camera like goes down beneath the ground and then we see the diagram of everything and then the camera goes in and then we're actually in a hallway or something. So once we start realizing the whole ship, I would agree with you that from when Stallone and Schwarzenegger start figuring stuff out and they get thrown into solitary, which has a giant light on it, which like fries them. He eventually goes, he pulls a Shawshank and goes down through the hole. He pulls it up and then he has to go down, walk along, and then he comes up and then he looks outside. So I'm guessing that would be maybe on the bottom floor because he has to go up. If it's on the second floor, you'd still have to go up, but maybe not as much.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like I said, I mean, if it made sense, we may not enjoy it as much, would we? I mean,
It just has to be
unless
believable.
you're
That's it. Unless you're what?
Unless you're John Ward.
Well, that's true. I just want it to make sense. I just want it to be, slightly believable. And I guess for what it does, it's fine. Like you said, it's a Hollywood movie, and after a while, you kind of forget about it. But it's also one of those movies where, like, at some point where Stallone goes down from solitary, and then he goes up, and then as he's coming down again, he busts the pipes, and the water is all coming out, and then there's the clicking, the ticking clock of the warden getting to solitary, and Stallone has to get back in there and put the piece down and screw it back in, and so I mean that's very
all
Hollywood.
before they come and get him, take him out.
Yeah, that's the ticking clock. Yeah, is that can he get back in there before they come in? And so I mean, I mean it's fine. It's a fun movie. I mean, I would watch it again because then I would probably look, I'd probably look for more stuff of is this believable? Did you notice that the doctor, Sam Neill, just disappears?
Yeah. I was on my. What happened to the doctor? Like, where did he go? Did he die? Did they kill him? And I'm like,
I looked it up. So he gives Stallone talks to Schwarzenegger, and then there's the Muslim guy that they also team up with. And he's like, well, the doctor's on board. As long as he does his thing, we should, we're good. So the doctor does his thing, and that's it. We never see him again. So I don't know if the movie, if his scene was cut, and who knows on the, in the deleted scenes, maybe there's something with him being killed or whatever from the warden, because he's never mentioned. He's never seen again. So at the very
something that we don't know about.
I don't think so. No, I mean it might just be a deleted scene, or they just didn't do anything. And then at the very end, in spoilers for people, the ship explodes. So
he's dead, man. He's dead.
I looked it up. I asked Google what happened to the doctor at the end of Escape Plan, and it came back saying the doctor died in the ship explosion.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean we never see him again, so he's somewhere around the ship.
There you go.
But he helped him, and he died.
Got the crappy end of the stick, man.
Yeah, he doesn't even have like a heroic death or anything. It's the other guy, the Muslim guy. He's got the gun and he's taking people out until he gets killed. They basically make him into Swiss cheese, and so he's got a little bit of a heroic death in there.
Yeah,
but what happened to the doctor? That's very weird that's just missing. So maybe that's on the auto commentary. I don't know. Maybe we need to get single DVDs or Blu-rays for these. Listen to the Blu-rays and then do a part 2 to this. So yeah, because that's just weird. What did you think of the different characters, the different inmates that are in this?
I thought all the actors did a phenomenal job. They were all they all played their part. Made it look believable. Like the guy that was Muslim, like really like nailed like the Muslim act. I'm not too familiar with the Muslim religion, but from what I know of the Muslim religion, they do pray at a certain time. And he said, "Hey, listen, I want to be out there so I can actually pray towards the sun or the moon or whatever he said he wanted to do." And basically, that was when he was trying to get
he was trying to get the coordinates because he was using the I forget what it's he's got like the compass, and so he's trying to like the homemade compass. So it's well before we got interrupted, I was going to look at at what else the director did here, and wow, I barely know any of these movies that he's done. He's done a fair amount. He's a He's a Swedish director. He's done television, nothing I've heard of. Some of it I can't even pronounce. But he directed a film called Vendetta, Days Like This, Copes, Evil, Drowning Ghost. He did, and then 2005, he started off in 95, and then in 2005, he did Derailed, which was with Clive Owen and Jennifer Aniston. He also did the Stephen King film 1408, and then a John Cusack movie called Shanghai. The Right, which is with Anthony Hopkins, and then that's when he did Escape Plan. And The Perfect Patient, Outside the Wire. Oh, that's with Anthony Mackie. Stockholm Bloodbath. And 2024 Slingshot with Casey Affleck. So I don't know a lot of his stuff. I know a quarter of it, maybe.
Sure. John, where'd you go, man? Hey, everybody. We're experiencing some technical difficulties, so just bear with us.
Man, I'm such a dumbass. I hit the wrong arrow. I meant to hit up here and then go. So one of the things that Wikipedia talks about is who's in all the movies. And so, like, Stallone obviously is in all 3 films, but then Curtis 50 Cent Jackson is also in all 3. And he's also in Expendables.
In all of them, or just one of
them? He's in part 4. I think he's in all of the other ones too. He might be in part 3. I'm not sure.
I think I'm not sure. I've only seen the 3rd one once. I've seen the first 2 like a bunch of times.
Let's see.
But I mean, he did an okay job. I mean, for a rapper that basically became an actor at this point.
Well, he's been acting for a long time. Yeah, since 2005 with Get Rich or Die Trying.
Which was his
like his biopic.
Yeah.
No, maybe he's just in Expendables 4.
Yeah, I don't really remember him in the 3rd one.
Yeah, I don't see him listed in any of the other ones, but it's from watching part 4, it sounded like he was there for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah. But he's in all 3 along with Stallone for the other movies. The woman Jules, who is, I guess, like one of the secretaries, I guess, if you want to call her that, she's the same actress. Lindea Hull, she's in all 3 also.
That's
and then no one, and then everybody else is kind of like Vincent D'Onofrio is in part 1, but then it's flashback footage in the 3rd film. So that doesn't really count.
That's the one that that basically tried to sell him out and make him brought to prison.
So, and what did... So see, so Escape Plan was 2013, Escape Plan 2 was 2018, Escape Plan 2 was 2019. I believe those 2 were shot back to back. Money-wise, the first Escape Plan, we're saying worldwide, it says worldwide net income. So it did 98 million. So not too bad on that from a budget from, well, 54 million. 98 million. Okay.
So basically broke even, made it back.
Yeah, then like Escape Plan 2, its budget is 20 million and it only made like a little over 1 million. Escape Plan 3 was 3 million. We'll say 4 million because it's a high 3 million. So 4 million, but it only made 2 million. So part 3 actually made more money than part 2.
You know.
Wow, nobody. Yeah, part 2 is the black sheep of this one because like review wise, like on Rotten Tomatoes, Escape Plan got a 50%. That's on 109 reviews. Escape Plan 2, 8% on 24 reviews. Escape Plan 3, 25% on 12 reviews.
I mean, I'm surprised they did that well just from being like what, direct to DVD or direct to video.
Yeah, well, so all right, so I guess that we can move on in a second to part 2. What did you think of the ending? Did you, because they kill the warden and he has like a little thing like, oh shit type of thing, and then he explodes and then the whole boat, which is funny because it kills all the inmates. So it's just not the warden, but it's all the guards, it's all the inmates, it's the doctor. So everybody dies. So
except Arnold and Stallone.
Yeah.
And no, just them two.
Yeah, it's just them, and then they end up
They're the only ones that count, John. They're the only ones that count.
That's
Everyone
true.
else needed to die.
Well,
that's how Hollywood works, I guess.
I guess they didn't want any of those people back for a sequel. And then Stallone does have a girlfriend in the first film, Amy Ryan. I know her from The Office. She played Michael's girlfriend. And at first, I had no idea that they were in a relationship. Stallone and her, in the movie, the characters.
It didn't really. Is that the one that plays Abigail?
Yeah.
Okay, because so Abigail was from the first movie. So
the character is in all 3, but the actress Amy Ryan only plays her in the first movie.
Okay, so the third movie's not. Okay, I didn't.
The 2 and 3 are Jamie King.
Okay.
Because they made them back to back. So.
Okay. Yeah. I knew there was something different about it. I just didn't. I just couldn't put my finger on it at that time. I was like, wait a minute, that's not the same person. I knew that, but I was like.
Well, I didn't even get in the first film that they were in a relationship. I thought she was just like a higher up. Like there was Stallone, Abigail, and then kind of everybody else. I didn't even know that they were in any sort of relationship.
They really didn't like even hint at a relationship. I thought it was just like they were colleagues. You know what I mean? They were like, okay, workmates. You're my boss, and that's it. It didn't really go into like, hey, I love you or anything like that. It's just, I don't know.
Well,
I mean, maybe they hinted at it a little bit. Maybe I have to watch it again and maybe pay close attention to their talk together. Maybe.
Yeah, they're dynamic, and it's because and we won't jump to the second one right yet, but I'll say this with part 2 is I'm like, oh, okay, so they recasted her because she probably wanted too much money, and so they got Jamie King. But then there's a point where they're standing very close, and Stallone goes like, "You look very pretty," and I went, "Whoa, that's HR." You can't do that these days. Not realizing still, even in part 2, that they're in a relationship. So it's okay for him to say that. But I still didn't get it. You know,
Like you,
until it was
yeah,
brought
he
up.
said something along the lines like, he's like, "You look nice, by the way." I'm like, "What? Okay,
Yeah, it's like, well,
whatever."
that was weird to say to
Never.
an employee.
I didn't put that together until the third movie at all. I was like, wait, oh, they. I thought maybe they got into a relationship like between the second and third movie, like off screen or something. You know what I mean? That's what I thought. And I was like, oh, so they were in a relationship since the beginning?
I guess
I never
maybe.
connected that. Never connected that. But I mean, the compliments, okay, yeah, okay. She's a beautiful woman. Okay, yeah. He just complimented, hey, you look nice. Like, I mean, what boss hasn't, complimented, hey, you know, like your shirt better. Or hey, I like,
Oh,
hey.
you can't do that these days. You can't even say nice earrings. You'll get sent to HR and canned. So that's why I don't say anything nice. I don't say anything. Anything. My coworker, I was an assistant, she was the manager, and this is for extra space when we were together. She had her hair done completely differently, like she dyed it and all that. I didn't say a friggin' word. And all of a sudden, like through like half the day, she goes, do you like my hair? Did you notice that I did it? And I said, yeah. And she goes, well, why didn't you comment? I'm like, because I'm not going to HR. It's like and I should have known that because we're very similar. I know that she wouldn't do that, but still, it's like, I ain't saying anything. So when Stallone
I
even just says you look nice today, I'm like, uh oh,
oh
even though he's the boss.
somebody's going to the higher ups and complaining about the boss being a hornball.
Yeah, because unless he's funding this whole operation, out of his own pocket, he's
That's
got people to
what
answer
I'm
to.
assuming he is at this point. Like he basically, I guess it was the one guy that at the very end of the first movie they sent him on a ship and kind of sent him off. Trapped
Oh
him in
yeah,
a.
Vincent. Well, yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio was the money guy. So I guess it was meant to be Stallone, Vincent D'Onofrio is the money guy, and then Amy Ryan is the. I guess that she's. I'm not sure what her position is, but I guess that she's on that same
Yeah,
level.
yeah, she's like a maybe a assistant or like a maybe a vice president of the thing.
Yeah. So did you like them on the beach at the very end?
Yeah, it
They,
was interesting. I don't. My favorite line of the whole movie. I don't ever want to see you again. Ouch, that hurts.
and he was supposed to. He was supposed to be in part two,
Oh
but
wow.
or two and
Okay.
three, maybe, I guess, but he just was filming something. So he could. Oh, no. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Expendables. I'm getting these two things confused. Yeah, maybe he was never supposed to come back. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that he took him literally, that he never wanted to see him again. So, you know, I like the beach stuff. Did you like the big reveal, the big twist that he's like the Kaiser Soze of this movie, that the guy that everybody's talking about that they need to get all the information from is Schwarzenegger, and he's there on the boat
I
the entire time.
I didn't see it coming,
I didn't see it.
but then again, I probably wasn't looking for it.
No, and I've
It was
seen
pretty
this
good.
and I completely forgot. I
There
haven't
you
seen
go.
this in a long
Hey,
time.
there you go. Hey, I mean, at least it shows that it aged well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And did you like Vincent D'Onofrio being stuck in a container and shipped away? Because part
Oh,
two, we
oh,
find out what happens to him.
do we find out what happens in part two?
Well, we'll get to that. Did you like him being in the container?
Yes, I like.
Did
I thought it was fitting. It was fitting. He deserved.
so he most likely died in that container.
At least I think he did. I mean, we'll talk about that when we get to part three or part two. In your case, if you, I must completely miss this part if they mention it in part two.
Um, So, like in part 1, we also have Vinnie Jones. He was the one of the bald-headed guys. He's in a lot of he's in like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and that type of stuff. If you'd know him if you saw him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess like do I know this guy? Oh, Farhan Tahir, maybe is his last name. How you say his last name? Yeah, so there's a
I'm gonna be honest with you. When it comes to like a lot of these smaller, no, I don't want to say smaller. Like there are actors that I know that if I see them, but I'm bad with names. So I'll be the first to admit that to you guys here. Here on Film Discussion, I'm admitting that I am not good with names. So if I see the person, I'm like, oh, that's who you're talking about.
okay. Yeah, you'd probably recognize him.
Probably.
He's one of those guys. But there's a decent cast in this one. So move on to part 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Escape Plan to Hades. Now,
Hades.
I got it right here. Right there. Dave Bautista is in this one before I even knew that he was Dave Bautista. Okay, so with part 2,
I'll be honest,
I don't know.
man. I've been a fan of Dave Bautista when he was back in the WWE. So.
I don't think when I originally saw this part 2 that I even knew who he was because I'm not a wrestling fan. So I know some of the old school guys, but I don't think I ever knew who he was. So I want to say before I mention this that I don't know exactly where I got this. I think I read it on the internet, and I think some of this came from the director, Stephen C. Miller. So because I'm well, before I left Facebook, I was friends with him on Facebook. That he said that he was going to be directing Escape Plan 2 and 3 back to back. And then he went off to do Escape Plan 2. There was a rumor that he was fired from the film. I don't know if that's totally true. Because on Wikipedia for Escape Plan 2, it down in the
even on the back of the thing, it says directed by Stephen C. Miller.
Right, but he was supposed to, according to him on Facebook, he said he was going to be doing 2 and 3. Then it says on Wikipedia, it says Stallone himself opinioned that it was one of the most, this is in quotes, most horribly produced films of his career.
Wow.
But Stephen C. Miller is not a producer. He's a director.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know what went on with that. I know that 2 and 3 look incredibly different.
Yeah.
Like they don't, they're, so I'm not entirely sure. Escape Plan 2, Hades, is more like the first film where it's science fiction, while the third one is more like The Expendables. It's more of just like an action movie.
So the second one, I don't know if it's the same for the third one or not, but the second one was produced by Randall Emmett. That is it. Also, yep, both. Actually, both. So they were produced by Randall Emmett. So Stallone needs to blame Randall Emmett.
It's got a few people. There's also that like George Furlaw.
Produced?
Yeah, I'm looking at it here. Produced by Randall, George, and then Zing, like an Asian guy. Then there's a Mark, a Zach, a Bobby.
Yeah, it's a little hard to read on.
Yeah, it's pretty tiny. So, oh no, well that's for part 3. Well, same type of idea for part 2.
Yeah.
Not as many producers, but yeah, it's still there. because 2 and 3 were made for China. That they were, that's why there's a ton of martial arts in them, and there's are these like martial artists are in this, because that was the idea, because the film is co-produced and distributed by like Asian distributors. So both films have a lot of martial arts in them, where the first one doesn't. But it's yeah, and Dave
The
Bautista.
first one was more of an action movie. Second and third one kind of leaned more towards the martial art, somewhat action,
Yeah, there's
but
people that
more heavily on the martial arts than I've noticed that. I was kind of like, I mean, I like martial arts. Don't get me wrong, but it's supposed to be about escaping from a prison, not beating the crap out of each other.
well, it makes it a different movie, so it's more kind of Mortal Kombat-ish than the first one is, and I like Dave Bautista. See, I really enjoyed the first film when I saw it. They released the second one, and then I think, yeah, it was like a year later that the third one came out. So I rented the second one, probably Blockbuster or something, or Hollywood Video. I turned it off within the first 10 minutes. And being friends with Stephen C. Miller on, not like friends, but just Facebook friends with him, I didn't want to say anything. So I turned it off. And my reason for turning it off is Stallone is not going to be in this movie. I'm like, this sucks. He's only going to be at the beginning and the end, and then they'll kind of maybe intersperse him back at the office throughout the film. So I'm like, no, I don't want to watch this. I'm done. But he is in the prison later on. So yeah, they even show him. He's in the kind of the Matrix chair there. And this one is, all of them are rated R, which is nice. I like the second one better than the third one.
Really?
Yeah. I'll say that right now.
Okay. I enjoyed all three of them, but I do have to tell you, second one, I was falling asleep through half some of it, which is not a good sign for me. I mean, usually if a movie keeps me entertained, I'm like my eyes are glued to that screen.
Right.
During the second time, and I remember how I said I had to watch the second movie twice. At first, I thought it was because I just started some new medication, so I was kind of like, maybe that's affecting it. And then I was like, and then the second time I watched it, I was like half falling asleep again. I'm like, oh, what's going on here? So I mean, yeah, the second one kind of dragged a little bit. I mean,
I like the sci-fi part of it, and we'll get more into part 3 when we get there. But I like the sci-fi part of it. I liked, it's the same but a little different. The beginning of it has, and this kind of made me go, uh-oh, because it didn't begin with Stallone. It dealt with his men and women. So his team. And even though they rescue the woman that they're supposed to go get out of this location, she ends up dying because she gets hit by a bullet. And then the guy who he says that he was the protege of Stallone's character gets fired because he went off to do he went to go blow up like their ammunition, and that was not part of the plan. So the woman most likely died because of him. And a problem,
he was trying to blame the algorithm of the program he was using. He's like, oh no, that would have happened even even if I didn't use the program, you know, like you can't pin that on me, you can't pin that on me. And Stallone's like, I kind of can.
Yeah, Stallone didn't like. He felt that the program was not ready yet, and everything was going off of this algorithm, however you say it, and so he gets fired. And one of my big problems with this film is there doesn't seem to be space in between scenes. So you have like at the beginning with a plan that goes right and wrong at the same time, they're in the truck, like the Jeep, and it cuts from them in the Jeep to them at camp. And I'm like, so is the camp like 5 minutes away? Like they needed a scene in between of them in the Jeep to show distance. So they're leaving the compound or the building where they were at, where the mission was, and then we see them in the Jeep, and then we cut to them at their camp. And it kind of does that throughout the movie. Like, does this all take place in a day? Because I never got that this took place over like the guy who gets fired. He goes, "Oh yeah, I've been here for like 2 months," and I'm like, 2 months? This really seems like you just came in there yesterday. There just didn't seem to be a good passage of time.
Yeah, well, they were kind of like, I think, because I mean, later on in the movie, you find out that he's actually the one that's in charge of the prison, and you find out. So I think maybe he was just saying that to like kind of earn their trust. You know, like, hey, I'm one of you. I'm the good guy. I'm one of
But he had to get fired and then build the prison.
Yeah.
So it had to at least be 2 months or more.
I think between Stallone firing him is probably at least. You know, I mean, there should have been like at least like from like the scene when he got fired, they should have had at least like maybe it fade to black and say like, you know, 1 year later or something, you know, to indicate, oh, a year has passed, or 2 years have passed or something, you know what I mean, or something that would make sense for him to build because there's no way you build a prison like that in less than a couple months. I mean,
I would say years.
That's gonna at least take a couple years.
Yeah, because even the prison itself seemed like it was like in a warehouse.
Yeah, it was like a robotic kind of like depended on a lot of electricity, depended on a lot of technology and stuff, which I mean does take long to build. But I mean, even like my work, we just expanded our building, you know, a couple of years ago, and that took about almost 2.5 years for them just to build, like the add-ons to the building. So I'm like, there's no way that this was done in like a couple months. So
no, so it would have made more sense for him not to be the creator. Like they brought him in, like he gets fired, and then they bring him in to run the place.
He's like a computer genius or something that knows how to work the program, but not the one to create it.
Yeah, because that doesn't time-wise, it doesn't add up. And give him something. Like we see him, our guy, the Asian guy, the martial arts guy, ends up in there, and he sees the guy who got fired, and he looks exactly the way that he did the day he got fired. Give him something, you know, or maybe even give him a black eye,
thicker beard, or give him longer hair or something.
Yeah, you know, give him something where the guy that's coming in there because that would be Sue. And then the guy who got fired is Jasper. Eventually, Luke gets in there.
Yeah.
And so they're all kind of stuck in there. And then eventually, Stallone gets in there. And they have these fights. So there's these, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I say like a warehouse, that it's where part 3 is all outside. This seems to be all enclosed in like a big warehouse.
It's inside. Third one's inside.
Huh?
The third one's inside. It's not really out too much outside. Like the majority of it.
But it's a prison
outside.
that's out. It's a prison that's outside. It's not underground. It's not in the air. It's not on the sea. It's outside.
That's just light. That's like yellow lights. It looks like sunlight, but it's not.
Wait, what?
If you look, if next time you watch part 3, look at it. It's actually yellow lights. It's not even. It's not sunlight. It's yellow lights that looks like sunlight. Because I thought that as well, and then I looked a little closer, and you can see like when they pan up a little bit, you can see it still.
I am so confused.
When
The third film is shot at a real prison. It's where they shot the Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, but it's not. But it's not. Where they put them in the prison cell. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, that's inside the
Well, that's what I'm
prison.
saying.
But what I'm saying is that instead of it being in the ocean, instead of it being in the air, instead of it being underground, it's a real prison that's on the earth.
I got confused. I apologize.
Yeah, because I was confused. So because it's
because you said the prison was outside, like it was. My brain went to all the prisons, like were like all.
No, I probably said it. I said it weird compared to, one is inside a ship. Where's the second one?
It's like underground or something. Like it was in Atlanta, I think. Yeah, it was in Atlanta, but it was like underground, like under a church or something.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, so one is on the ship, one is underground, and then the third one is in a prison,
Just
in like a real prison.
Just a normal prison.
So they have these fights that there's limited spots where they go, which I'm guessing is a budgetary thing. So there's the main area that they fight in, and then there's these corridors, and those go to their like cells, and multiple people live in the cells, and they have fight days, and then there's no fight days. And then if you have a fight and you win, you get to have like nice private time. You get to go to
something like that.
Yeah, and the like a room comes down, and you can go into the room and you can paint or write or draw or sleep or do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So this doesn't sound too bad. And and
sounds pretty good. Sounds like more like a vacation than prison, man.
Yeah, and I think there's people missing from this cast list. That doesn't. Yeah, there's more. Well, maybe because it's just main characters. Let me see here, because Jeffrey Combs is in this. So Stallone, Batista. I can't pronounce the guy's name who plays. It's like Shu. He's like the main guy. Jamie King is Abigail. Jesse Metcalf. Wes Chatham. He's the guy who got fired. Yeah, Linda Hall is back in this as Jules. Peter Wenst is Bug. Yeah, 50 Cent is Hush.
Yeah.
Am I completely wrong in thinking that Jeffrey Combs was in this? He plays the guy with the glasses.
I'm not sure, man. Not sure.
He's the guy who
I
was in
mean,
Reanimator and From Beyond, and he's like a huge B movie actor. That is weird. I'm gonna have to look up. Yeah, because he plays the guy that has the glasses, and then they take the glasses, and he's the guy that takes the he gets the thing out of the guy's back of his neck. Or is that part one? Am I confusing shit?
I'm not sure, man. 'Cause I don't remember this part. And I watched this movie twice, unless I fell asleep at the same time.
What the fuck? Okay, so he's not listed in part 1, too. What?
Are you thinking of another movie completely?
Oh shit! You know what it is?
What?
I watched Fortress and Fortress 2 Re-Entry, 2 Christopher Lambert films. The first one is directed by Stuart Gordon, who did Reanimator and From Beyond. So Jeffrey Combs is in the first Fortress movie. That was it. That's why. So I did two. I did so those, the Fortress is underground, and then in the second one it's in space, hence Re-Entry.
Okay.
Because I thought it would be
2 prison movies completely.
Oh my god. I watched 5 prison movies because I thought it would be fun for Reviews After Midnight on Jonathan's channel for Indie Film Cafe. Since we're doing the Escape Plan movies, I thought of doing 2 videos for Fortress 1 and Fortress 2 to kind of go along with this. So, which I still have to record those. And yeah, now I'm getting, so maybe what I'm saying in some of these isn't real. Maybe it's from the other movies. That's why I'm confused of like, where's
Jeffrey Combs? And I'm like, I don't remember a dude with glasses. I don't remember a dude getting something out of his neck or something. I'm like, I mean, did I fall asleep? Did I fall asleep at this point, or what happened?
Okay, so where is later? I want to find out exactly where, like where. My God, I can't believe I just watched this. No, I watched it on Sunday. Where is the prison in this one?
The second one?
Yeah, you said it's underground?
Yeah, it's in Atlanta. It's in Atlanta. It's like underneath a church.
I mean, I know you're right, but this is really bugging me. I need like an exact thing. Where is the prison in Escape Plan 2? Okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. It's located in Atlanta. Okay, Hades is described as a futuristic, underground, and highly secure facility operated by the character Gregor Faust, named the Zookeeper. Well, that's not correct. Okay, so yeah, so it is underground. Okay. God, I'm getting these confused.
It was like a church. I think it was like a bunch of abandoned buildings. Actually, it was underneath because later on in the movie, when you see it like I don't know what actually happened. Something blew that there was like a bunch of air kind of got through, and that kind of blew things out through the air. That's how Dave Bautista was able to see where he needed to go.
I like this one better than part 3, but I have no memory of it really, and I remember part 3. This is bizarre because now I keep thinking is what I'm
Or
talking
don't
about
like part.
Fortress.
Are you sure you don't like 3 better than 2? Because 2 is kind of forgettable, man.
I like the
I had to watch
futuristic
it
thing.
twice. Actually, to be fair, I actually had to watch 2 and 3 both. So, because I fell asleep through both of them. Third one because I was really tired. So that was kind of my fault. That wasn't the movie's fault. That was my fault. When I watched it the second time, I had no problem. This one, however, when I did watch the second time, I was falling asleep at the exact same time. So.
See, and then I'm getting confused even more because I watched this last night, which is all about the Yakuza and the triads and it's got like samurai swords and everything in it. So I might even be confusing these with this.
Oh my.
But I liked Stephen C. Miller's directing. My favorite film by him is Silent Night, the kind of reimagining of Silent Night, Deadly Night. And I think that he did a good job directing. I liked the lighting. I thought the editing was okay, except it just kind of seemed like stuff was
It was a
missing.
little choppy. It was choppy at times.
It was choppy.
It didn't a lot of it really could have been solved if they would have. Like I said, if they would have just said like right around the time when he kind of left, if they would have just like faded to black and said 1 year, like 2 or 3 years later or something, maybe it would make a little more sense. Or like stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like make it a little more like, okay, there's no way that this dude just left and then all of a sudden just built this prison in like 5 days or something.
Yeah, no, that doesn't make sense.
Plus,
Okay,
a lot of the CG, I will say, was bad.
Okay, so Abigail is the vice president of the company.
Yeah.
And then Jasper, who's the one who got fired. So a Breslin protege, and Breslin is Stallone, protege who is dismissed by Breslin for insubordination during a rescue mission.
Yeah.
And then Linda Hall, the one Hull, who's in all 3, she's just an employee. That's all it says. Okay, so good. I am right about this. So it does have Legion in it. The 3 bald-headed guys who they thought were Nazis, and they're not.
The neo-Nazis, they called them.
Yeah, which nice that you just assume somebody with a bald head is a Nazi.
John, is that why you wear a hat?
Yes, but I'm not bald. See?
You got a little bit of bald, John.
Oh yeah, that hair receding is pretty bad. No, but an ex friend of mine, we will say, way back in the day when we lived in Pasadena, he shaved his head like completely with like a razor blade and all that. And he was walking on the street. These 2 young guys were following him, and eventually he stopped and just went, "What? Why are you following me?" And they go, "Where's the meeting?" And he's like, "What?" And they're like, where's the meeting? And they're like pointing at their bald heads. And he realized they're like neo-Nazis or something, that they're like white supremacists. And he looks at him and goes, "Asshole, I'm fucking Jewish." And they just, he just shaved his head. We all shaved our heads at one point way back in the day, even though we had perfectly good hair. We just did it. And so, but I liked them. Who else is?
There was
They
there was the probably gonna get canceled for this, but the black gentleman with the tattoo on his head. The one that what was the Chinese guy's name again?
like the electronics guy. Is
No,
that who?
the one the Chinese guy fights at the very beginning. And he wins and he goes into the sanctuary.
The black
I'm
guy?
not sure. We're officially canceled, Don. I think we've been canceled for years, but if we touch
Oh, is it Aquila? A prisoner of
yes,
Hades?
yes, yes, yeah, yeah.
Tyrone Woodley. He is okay, well, this makes sense. He's a former UFC welterweight champion.
Yeah, there you go.
So Stallone he had mentioned that he wanted to get wrestlers and martial artists and stuff like that. That's in that the behind the scenes on the third one. So fuck, I'm still getting shit confused.
Yeah.
Is there in Hades, is there a kind of like a goofy black guy, like an 80s type black guy, like like he'd be like in Police Academy or something, that's electronics genius? No, that's Fortress too. Oh my gosh.
You gotta stop watching movies that are similar, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, because they have in that where they're up in the air, they're in space. That one has a really disappointing ending. That one just it's called re-entry, and they realize well they do it with the first one too, where you automatically know that the prison is underground in Fortress, and then we automatically know that the prison is in space. Hence re-entry, which was kind of they should have done a different subtitle. What was disappointing to me with those is we know that the prison is underground. We shouldn't know that. You know, when it should kind of be like Escape Plan, when Stallone pops his head out.
And he sees, then the camera pans about and he sees the ship, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh crap, how is he going to escape that? How is he even going to get out of there?
Exactly, and Fortress did the opposite. They got the bus of criminals, and they're like, well, where's the prison? It's supposed to be huge, and it's underground. So I'm like, oh well. And then for the second one, Christopher Lambert gets captured again because he escaped from the first one. So now they're after him. And then he gets shipped to the one in outer space, but we know it's in outer space.
Yeah.
So that's another one where he should be knocked out. And then he wakes up in prison like, oh shit, not this again. And then he realizes, you know, he fights all the bad guys and then makes his way to the window and he sees space. Like there's Earth, like right down in there.
Yeah.
So in this one, so in Hades, in Escape Plan 2 Hades, do we know what's underground?
No, we don't know that until actually we don't even know where it's at until we get to right at the very end when Luke, I guess Luke and Dave Bautista's character kind of had they don't like each other for some reason, and he goes, and Stallone goes, do you want to tell him? He goes, not really, because he asks, where do you know where we're at? And he's like, do you want to tell him? He goes, no, not really, and then Stallone goes, Atlanta, and they're like, oh, then it kind of shows like, oh, right.
Okay. Because is
Well, I
it
think
Dave Bautista and Stallone the only two to survive? Because Bautista's not in the prison, right?
No, he's not in the prison. He's one of the out. Stallone went to Batista to ask him for a favor to look into who owned they only know the bank account, like there's a bank account or something called Sparrow or something, and basically he's like, hey, I need you to look in, see who's behind it, and then he texts Stallone and says, "Hey, found out who it is. You're not gonna like the answer." And he goes, when is anything you tell me ever?" And then that's when we get revealed that the one that he fired is the prison, is the owner's prison.
So the people outside would be Dave Bautista and Jamie King. They would be outside
And
trying to figure in. And Hutch,
and
yeah, 50 Cent. And then
those three.
inside would be Stallone and
At first,
Jasper.
it's the two Chinese guys. They him and his cousin.
Oh,
That he was
yeah, because
he was like a millionaire or something like that, and he was like trying to.
he has the program that the zookeeper wants at the
Yeah.
beginning before we realize who actually is running this place.
They get put in there first. Then that's when he runs into what's the
the
guy that
Jasper
they
guy.
fired? Jasper, yeah. They run into him, and then they start like they team up there for a little bit. Then Hush gives Luke like some information to a company that is part of this this new prison or whatever, and they're like, "Hey, we need to find out where these people are." So Hush gives him information. He goes after the one source and ends up getting captured as well. So then,
Okay.
then after that, then Stallone gets kidnapped.
Right. And then then he gets kidnapped. He's in the chair. It's
And
then
he has
because it's the Asian guy, the older brother, the cousin. The older brother is the one who does the fighting. The younger brother gets his ass kicked because they want they need like the code or something. They like the patent or something. They got the first patent, which the younger brother doesn't care about. They want the second patent, which controls something that would destroy the world.
Yeah.
And so that's why they are there. And then they see Jasper, and there's more fighting. So we have the people working from the outside and the people working on the inside. And the older brother has Stallone in his head, who keeps telling him stuff, which we kind of get from the first movie. How dumb is it that Stallone that Stallone's character wrote that book on how to escape from a prison? Because everybody keeps using it against him.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, but okay. And unless he would have left out a couple things, write the book, but leave out like a recipe. You want, it's okay for you to make the brownies, but I'm going to leave out like 2 ingredients so your brownies are never as good as mine. Yeah. So maybe you should have done that with the book, but I guess the book tells everything, because even the warden in the first film has the book on his desk and says, "Oh yeah, I used your book to model this after." And then, God, yeah, I am telling you, man, Fortress is in my head because I'm thinking, wait, is Kurtwood Smith in one of these movies? And then he takes Stallone's wife and wants to keep her in his room on the prison, like his quarters. And I'm like, no, that's Fortress. Kurtwood Smith isn't in any of these. He's in Fortress. Is he in? No, he's in Fortress 2. Oh my God. I'm dying here. I'm absolutely dying. Let's start this over again. Hey, everybody, it's me, John Ward, and I'm here with... man, so then they do the fighting. They figure out the different things to get out. And somehow they destroy everything. And
they hack into it. They shut it down for like 2 minutes or something. They figure everything out, and I guess that somehow caused like I forget what ends up happening, but literally, Dave Bautista's character is outside of the abandoned building that they're in, and something happens that like, and I don't know if it's an explosion or like steam starts releasing or something. Basically, steam starts like blows like the sewer grate outside, and then he looks over and goes, "Oh, okay. There's my entrance. That's where I need to go," and that's how he gets into the prison.
Okay. Okay. Because it's saying here the bald guys, there's Count Zero
Yeah,
and
he knows the outlaw. He knew the. He's one of the ones that knew the like the outlay or something of the prison. And they didn't know which one was one because they all kept saying we are Legion, we are Legion, we are Legion, and all that. And
well
that's
this
why.
but this is saying that Shun befriends a prison cook and learns that the prison layout. Oh, because it's like a Rubik's Cube. That's right. The prison, it changes its layout.
Yeah,
So we
which
got
kind of never went, which kind of didn't go anywhere. If you noticed, kind of like they mentioned that, and then that just never played into later on in the in the film. Like they kind of just
yeah.
as
So
just
it's
the
kind of
whole
like
thing,
the cube.
like
Like,
they were saying like the whole prison moves like or like you know the thing rotates or something every day or something, and then
well, you
when you look at it and it's like, well, that was never like that never came back up again. So what's going on here? Did they just mention that just to kind of throw us off, or was it never moving it ever at all, or was the robot just taking him like around like 20 more times because he knew he was counting? Or what I mean? Like,
well, did you see Cube? There's 3 Cube movies.
I'll check him out.
Yeah, the first one is excellent. It's people wake up in a room. It's like Saw, but in a cube. And they wake up in a room, and each room they can open this panel and they go into the next room, but the room is booby trapped. And everything is done through math. It's all done through numbers. And they realize that it keeps shifting, that all the rooms keep moving. So they start like taking like a shoe and throwing it in or a shirt or something to see if they've already been in that room. So that so Hades reminded me of that with how it's rotating.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah,
like if they would have actually like did something with that concept, because they really didn't do much with it. I mean, they kind of just mention it, and then they kind of like they didn't go any further with it. Like it didn't really have much consequences. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't, like you didn't see like um him go into another room and then come back in and then realize he went back into the same like when he tried to escape. And really, they really didn't even try to escape. They just tried. Like the first one was more about them trying to actually escape. For the second one, they were just kind of like you know tried to outsmart the the guy.
yeah, I did like one line in this where I forget which character it is, but they do go to like the infirmary, and they was going to try to manipulate the doctor like they did in the first movie, but the doctor ends up being a robot.
Yeah.
So he's like,
The
yeah, I tried, but it's a robot.
the Chinese guy did that at the very
Yeah.
beginning. Because he told the Akira or whatever his name is, like we need to fight. He's like, no, it's a truce day. It's a truce day. We can't fight. And he goes, and then he starts punching on him, and then he beats him up, and ends up getting him cut somehow. And then all of a sudden he wakes up and he's like, what's your problem? And he goes, I was trying to trying to befriend the doctor, but doctor's a robot.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a lot of explanation here. I mean, and I don't remember most of this. But it does say that the Asian guy, the older brother, overrides the prison's power systems,
With the help of
allowing De
vote.
Rosa, who's Dave Batista, to enter to the prison's entrance and allowing him to break in.
Yeah.
Shu kills the zookeeper.
Somehow the zookeeper knew martial arts.
They all did. Yeah, this is. Yeah, and then there's Galileo, I guess, is the computer system.
Yeah.
Disabled. Yeah, De Rosa disables Galileo for good. Shu and, well, the two brothers, I guess, find an exit and are safely extracted by Abigail and Hush. Breslin is contacted by the group behind Hades and vows to track them down and expose them. Oh yeah, so he's at the very end of the movie, and there's like a couple guys with him, and he sees that the like the image come up,
almost.
the hologram, yeah, of one of the guys, I guess, that's like running.
You're not Jasper. He goes, no, but we're going to take you out.
Which is very Resident Evil. So
yeah.
Alice did that in one of the Resident Evil films, did the same type of thing. So when Wesker was doing it, but it's yeah, I'm so confused on this. So let's move to part 3. At least I remember that one. Well, let's see on part 2. So the budget on that, was 20 million, but it only made 17.6.
So it lost.
Yeah. So, and then, okay, so then Escape Plan, the Extractors, or Escape Plan 3, the Extractors. All right, so where is it? Okay, here it is. I didn't like the third one. I was not a fan, even though people seem to like it better than the second one. And I know it's weird that I can't remember the second one, but I like the second one better than the third one. I didn't like that it became the Expendables. I thought that it should say science fiction.
I did mention that when I was talking to my wife about it. I said, you know, the first two, they escaped. They got captured, and they escaped from a prison. He goes, this one became more of like a rescue mission than. I mean, these people, like, they had like some people escape from like bondage or something. Like the guy had to burn his thing to get out of the handcuff.
Yeah, the plastic. Yeah.
But that was really the only bit of escape.
Because, well, remember at the beginning of part 2, they're doing a rescue.
Well, yeah, I mean that was like a mission that was going on, but then this one kind of just became, and I get it. I mean, you don't want to have all 3 movies be, Sylvester Stallone gets thrown in a prison. Like, how dumb is he to get thrown into prison 3 times? I mean,
yeah, because this was that behind the scenes. Stallone talks about how he said that this is the last one. It is a trilogy, so there's only going to be 3, and that he feels that the Escape Plan films have potential to be bigger, but yet he's stopping with 3. And he did mention that after the first film, they don't just escape from prisons, is they go off on missions to rescue people.
Yeah.
So the beginning of the second film is them rescuing the woman, and then it goes wrong and she dies. And then the third one, I guess, is rescuing
The
the
billionaire's
daughter.
daughter.
Yeah. And oh my God, and I am getting this confused with War. Because War has the Asian dad who's rich, and his daughter is part of the company, but she's not a good person. She's a bad person. But in Escape Plan 3, the daughter is good.
She's good. Yeah. She wants to open up the. It starts in Chicago where she's exploring. They're showing her an abandoned building basically, and she's like, "Hey, I really think we should build our company over here. These people really want to work. This will open up jobs for American people and all that." And he's kind of hesitant at first, and then she's like, and I guess she kind of talks him into it, and he goes, "Well, I guess China's coming to
Yeah.
Ohio or wherever it was." Yeah, Ohio.
Yeah, Ohio. Mansfield, Ohio.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
she go on.
And then basically, as she goes back to the hangar where she's going to get on her plane to go home, the mayor's like, "Hey, we'll do everything in our power to make sure that everything goes smoothly for you." And then her bodyguard starts noticing things are not right with the people around the plane. So he just starts going kung fu on everybody, and then ends up getting his butt kicked and knocked out.
Yeah.
Then
and then she gets kidnapped along with some of like her entourage.
Yeah.
So they because they get put into that prison, which is a really cool prison. There's been like, I guess, like a bunch of movies that shot there. Shawshank did shoot there, but only on the outside. Okay. They mentioned that in the making of it, because a lot of people are like, this is really cool. We're at the place where they shot Shawshank at. And then Stallone points out, he goes, yeah, but we're shooting outside and inside. Shawshank only shot outside. And yeah, and then there's the bodyguard that takes it personally, and the dad says you messed up. And then there's like the ex-boyfriend that the dad doesn't like, but he's going to go with them, with Stallone's crew, with the security crew, to get her.
Isn't his name Shu? Are you getting Shu mixed up? Shen, not Shen. Shen or something like that. No, yeah, Shen.
Shen, Shen.
Yeah. Okay.
The names are kind of familiar.
They're kind of like the names are kind of like.
Oh, but the guy who kidnaps everybody is D'Onofrio's son.
So you mentioned that we find out what happened to him in the second movie.
No, I'm sorry, in the third film that we find out.
Oh, so basically he just dies? Like
he says, I think he says like he roasted to death. Like he starved and roasted to death inside the container.
Okay.
And so he was taking revenge for his dad. So they did a little Die Hard with a Vengeance, in this one.
So basically they connected all three films together with. So well, maybe not all three, but they connected the third film to the first film. So the main bad guy is the son of the guy that screwed Sylvester Stallone over, put him in the cell for money, and then they got word of it. They kidnapped him and put him in a cargo and sent him off on a long cruise.
Yeah, and it's Devon Sawa is the from like Final Destination and the Chucky movies. or a Chucky TV show. Yeah, so he plays Lester Clark Jr.
Yeah.
And then we have Jamie
I
King
will be
back
honest.
as
I will be
Abigail.
honest. I did not put 2 and 2 together because I was like, because I did not know the dude's name from the first movie. Because I heard it, but then I kind of, because we didn't hear nothing about him ever again. And then when they said that, yeah, that's his son, I was like, oh. Like,
Yeah,
why is he
that's why
so mad about this guy now? Why is he so mad about this guy going off roasting to death if he doesn't really, if he's not related? And I'm like, oh, okay, oh, he is related. Okay, that makes so much more sense.
yeah, because they had to throw those flashbacks in there so we understood. So we also have Russell Wong in this, who's really good. He played the head of like Zhang Innovations and Daya's father.
That was the billionaire, right?
Huh?
That was the billionaire, right?
Billionaire?
Yeah, the one that was the one that daughter was kidnapped.
Yeah, Daya is the daughter's name. So he's the head of the company and her father.
Okay.
But Russell Wong is a very well-known actor. So he's been in like a ton of stuff.
Yeah, he was good. He did a good job.
Yeah, I thought this one was boring. It didn't really interest me that much. It had a much lesser budget, and I think that shows. I do think that it's cool that they shot at this prison. I was surprised that Abigail died.
Yeah.
I was not except so I was so bored. I got up and I went to go do something else. I think I put some dishes in the sink. I went in and took a leak, and I could hear a gunshot. And I'm like, oh shit, somebody died. And I remember like Abigail being there, that she was one of the ones that was being held hostage. And so we have the Asian guy's daughter, and then we have Abigail. And they're both, so everybody's after both of them to get them back. And I'm like, oh shit, Abigail got shot. And I came back, and Stallone was all freaking out that she died. And I'm like, maybe I should go back and see what happened. And I went back. I could not find the gunshot, but I did see her neck get cut, which I wish was a.
You went back a little further. The bodyguard that ended up letting her get kidnapped at the beginning, he was the one that got shot.
Oh, okay. I didn't go back far enough. Oh, and I didn't even notice that. Was he shot and dead or just shot? But okay.
They really didn't go into it. They just kind of just showed him they got shot. I'm assuming he got shot in the chest. So I'm thinking he got shot in the heart and basically just bled out at that point because he's never seen again after that. So I'm assuming he did,
was in
man.
the movie.
Well, you see again, I fell asleep because I think it was I just started new medicine and stuff, so I was kind of like I was like falling asleep the first time. So I asked my wife, I said, what happened to the bodyguard guy? He's like, oh, he left, and I'm like, well, why isn't he at the end of the movie? I don't know. They just left him there. I'm like, what do you mean they just left him there? So I'm like, I'm gonna have to watch this again because you're not trustworthy. So I watched it again, and I'm like, see, there you go. He got shot. He's dead.
Yeah, I searched, I went back, saw Abigail, in reverse, get her neck cut, and I'm like, oh shit. So then I went back to the beginning of that and watched it forward, but I guess I didn't go back far enough to hear the gunshot because I'm like, I'm just not hearing a gunshot anywhere. And then had no idea that he wasn't in the rest of the movie. We are not doing good with these. Can we even recommend these? I could definitely recommend the first movie, but I
The
don't
first one,
remember.
yeah.
I don't remember anything from the second and third film, I guess, or at least I do remember I remember, like, how did the first one open? Like you said, like she was in Ohio. We want the company. She goes back. The dad wants her to go back to the States. She wants to be with the dad. Then when they're back in the States, he then tells her to go back to their country, and which I'm assuming is China. And because this has Chinese backing, so I'm assuming it's Chinese. Let me look at Russell Wong is an American. No, I don't want that. Let's find Chinese actor. Okay, so the boyfriend that the dad doesn't like is Chinese. So this so it's all because it's all China for 2 and 3, which is probably where it made all of its money.
I'll be honest with you. Him is probably the best. He's probably the best thing of the whole.
Which one?
The one that plays the boyfriend that the dad didn't like.
He is. They interview him a fair amount, and he did a lot of his own stunts. And he is, I guess, a very well known like martial artist in China, like celebrated. I did like the scene with Devon Sawa when Stallone is when they're like kicking each other's ass inside the jail cell. And Stallone said that was completely improvised. They didn't storyboard it. They didn't plan it. They basically just did it. And that even though Stallone feels that he might have hurt Devon Sawa, that he just went along with it because they were like throwing each other against the walls. And they just completely just went for it. Yeah, I don't.
Then you got Dave Bautista basically power bombing that guy right on the freaking rails.
Yeah. Oh, and I loved his gun, the one that just like disintegrated people.
What do you call it? Like fire breath or something? Dragon breath or something? Something breath.
I guess that's my science fiction in this then. So
yeah, there's a little bit of science fiction in it.
See, and that's maybe one reason why I wasn't a big fan of this, why I liked 2 better, is 2 actually had some characters. So the inmates looked different. This one, all the prisoners looked the same. Everything was the same.
Okay. Well, because they're maybe there's the lower budget. You said the third one was the lowest budget.
Very low budget, yeah.
So they probably just had like, hey, probably made a call around the city, said, hey, you want to be in the third escape plan movie? Show up on this date and you can be prisoners for a day. And then they showed them.
They stuck them, yeah. Yeah, because this one was 3.6 million, but it only made 1.8 million. I'm going to assume that probably a lot of that was, I would think Canada was China is maybe where they made their money, since these were pretty much made for China.
Yeah.
So, but they both had limited runs out here, I guess, just to say they had limited runs.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to at least play in a couple theaters. So it's Devon Sawa dies. He gets thrown off. Yeah, because they're fighting in the room or in the cell, and Stallone throws him off, right?
No, it starts off with a gunfight, and he goes, you know, she starts like talking crap about Abigail. He goes, you know, she didn't even scream. She just kind of gurgled. And then he got mad, came out, he shot him. It kind of nicked his cheek. So he went into the room. He was like being big and tough. I just shot him and stuff. Goes in there, and then all of a sudden, Sylvester Stallone just starts beating the crap out of him, slamming him up against the thing. That's the one you said it was improvised, right?
Yeah, in the jail cell. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then he basically brings him out to the end there. He pulls his knife out, and he said, and he basically at this point Lester Jr. is like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. He goes, now you get to see how she feels. He slits his throat and then throws him off.
Okay, so I forgot about the slitting of the throat. Okay.
Basically getting revenge on that crap.
Yeah, then he just kind of splats on the ground. So at least in this one, the prisoners didn't die. They just kind of, well, no, I guess they did. Dave Bautista was shooting a bunch of them.
Just started shooting them off. Well,
yes.
To be fair, they were kind of like going after the girl and Chen and the girl, and then he's
Okay.
like, "Get down." He told him to get down, and then all of a sudden he started shooting him.
Man.
But he only shot the ones that were coming after him. Like if they started running away, he just kind of just let him go. But then if they were coming after him to like try to hurt him or something, he just boom.
I wonder what the deal was with Dave Bautista, because he says in like both movies, I'm better by myself, and then he just goes off by himself. So I wonder if they had to shoot him on different days. And because he's like, yeah, I can only be there for 2 or 3 days, and so they just shot all of his stuff separately.
Either that, or maybe he was in other movies. I think this may have been right around the time that he was filming for the Avengers and stuff, because he was in Infinity War and stuff, right? Or the Endgame.
Okay, let's look.
So I mean he's been in a whole bunch of movies. So I mean he may have been shooting another movie alongside this, and it was like, okay, you got me on this day and that day and that day, so you're gonna have to, work with what you got.
Okay, that's
And him being a big name actor at this point, like, hey, you're gonna have to work. You can't have the movie without him.
Okay, so yeah, there's nothing really big. Because he did Avengers Infinity War came out in 2018, but so did Escape Plan 2. So maybe he was filming that.
2019 wasn't Escape Plan 3 in 2019?
Well, yeah, because I'm looking at the other one, because he's by himself in the second one too, and then for Extractors, yeah. So like it looks like he probably shot Hades around the same time he was doing Infinity War, because he was doing other movies too.
Yeah.
And then he did the Extractors around the time that they were doing Endgame.
Yeah. That's
and
what
he was
I'm
also
saying. Maybe they had to get him during the times when he wasn't shooting for Endgame, shooting his scenes for Endgame, and they had to kind of like, okay, let's throw you in here. We have you for like maybe 5 days here. Let's just get all of his scenes shot and done with. That's basically what makes sense to me.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah. This is a friggin' O.J. Simpson, but this is a famous thing with him. When they were shooting The Towering Inferno, he played a firefighter. And of course he was doing football. And the Browns maybe or something, I'm not really sure. Packers? I don't know what team OJ was on originally. But whatever team he was on ended up going to the oh my God, what's football's big thing?
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. Thank you. Shit. And so so they basically had him run into the Towering Inferno, and he just disappears through the movie, and then at the very end he comes out holding a kid. And that's how they dealt with him, because he had to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So so you just have to work with what you got. I mean, you hire OJ Simpson, who was like really big back then, and it's just like, well, shit, this team's going to the Super Bowl. So what do? We just have him run in and run out, but we do it at the beginning of the movie and the end of the movie.
He runs in here, and then at the very end of the movie, he comes out as the hero because he saved the kid.
Yeah, because he saved the kid. Yeah, so so I guess you just work with what you got. And if Dave Bautista's shooting, the
Endgame and Infinity War and stuff at that time, gotta get him when you got him.
Yeah. So okay, well, anything else that we want to bring up with these? I should have watched War either, because that's the same. I've now watched 5 movies that I'm confusing altogether. War was good though. I liked War, but it's.
I have it. I still have to watch it.
It's
confusing.
Do you want
to? I was gonna say, do you want? Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's when you watch War, it's weird. Is the directing is weird. There are some very weird choices, and there are some really weird editing choices. So I don't know if when they were looking at the footage and they went, "Oh shit, this kind of sucks. We got to make this thing look like an MTV video." So it's got these weird kind of between the cuts. It's like and then it goes to like the next scene, like some weird thing comes up, and then they zoom in or zoom out, or they do this weird stuff, and I'm like, oh, did this kind of suck originally? And now they're trying to make it interesting by doing all these weird edits and effects and stuff like that. But I liked it. I still like the movie. It kind of calms down near the end, and it's nice seeing Jet Li and Jason Statham together, because I think they're in one of the Expendables movies together. Yeah. So that was kind of cool. But part 2, okay. So God, hopefully I'm not going to watch anything that resembles the Expendables at all next month. I'm just going to watch those.
We'll just mention that Escape Plan is a unofficial Expendables movie that the Expendables like.
Yeah, so it started off with him. That's where he met Schwarzenegger, or the Schwarzenegger character, which then becomes like the guy who gives them their missions in Escape Plan. Yeah. And then in this, so then in part 2, he gets kidnapped, and then he makes his way out. But then part 3 is the real beginning of the Expendables, because now they're doing missions to save people. They're just not called the Expendables yet. They're called the Extractors. And he changes the name later to the Expendables.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, so these are prequels to the Expendables.
There you go.
So yeah, that could work. That could work. Yeah. I think. And then you were going to say what? I'm sorry.
I was going to say, did you want to rank them, or rank your favorite to least favorite?
I would say, I mean, favorite, it would be, pardon me. Escape Plan 1. Well, go in order. 1, 2, then 3.
Okay. So I'm gonna be the weird one. I'm gonna say 1, 3, 2.
Well, I don't think you're the weird one. I think I'm the weird one, because from what we've read,
I'm gonna say I did enjoy all 3 of them. I did enjoy all 3 of them. They were fun. I mean, basically, like, one is like the movie to watch, but if you just want a turn your brain off and just get a bucket of popcorn and just watch, 2 and 3 are good popcorn.
Oh, because we mentioned I don't want to leave people out here, because we mentioned the guy for part 2. So John Hertzfeld directed part 3, and he ended up Oh, he's done a bunch of known stuff. Acting, directing. Oh, yeah. The guy who directed part 3 is personal friends with Sylvester Stallone. They've known each other for like 30 years, 40 years. So he's an actor, a director, a producer, and a writer. So he was in the original Death Wish. He played a train mugger. He was in the movie Cannonball. That's with David Carradine. Youngblood. Oh, that's not the Youngblood I was thinking of. It's like I don't know, 1978, like a black exploitation movie, maybe. Two of a Kind with John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John. Oh, he's in Cobra with Sylvester Stallone. 2 Days in the Valley, 15 Minutes, The Death and Life of Bobby Z, Reach Me, and then the last thing that he did was Escape Plan. And then he also did like a bunch of television. So he's pretty well, and he's still with us. It doesn't say that he died. Yeah, so he did a fair amount of stuff. And then let's quickly look at part 2. Because I like Stephen C. Miller. So I'm going to give him a little bit of a shout out here. Even though I wanted to interview him for one filmmaker and he did not respond. That made me sad. So he did a great zombie film that I love called Automation Transfusion. Then he did Scream of the Banshee, the I can't pronounce this. This is my dyslexia is sticking. Aggregation, I don't know, scale. I can't figure it out. My brain's not functioning on that word. Granny, Under the Bed, Silent Night, Extraction, Submerged, Marauders. I have a few of his movies. Arsenal, First Kill, Escape Plan 2, Hades, Line of Duty, Margot, and then he did Werewolves.
Yeah.
So he has a bunch of good stuff. So, but
check
yeah.
out these directors. Even if you don't like the movies, check out the directors. There might be something else you might enjoy better than these. If you don't like it, if you do like the movies, still check them out.
There you go. There you go. So, all right, man. Anything else, or shall we call it a night?
I think we pretty much talked everything. So we
Okay.
recommend them. Don't think too hard on them. Don't drop the movie, John. That's blasphemy. If you like action movies, you can't go wrong. Just don't think too hard. Don't be like John over here. Just think. Just
Thanks.
turn your brain off and watch the movie.
Well, now, what would you do for star ratings? Like, I would give, so out of 5, 1 out of 5. I'd give Escape Plan 3. I would give Escape Plan 2, 2.5, let's say. And then I'd give Extractors 2.
Okay, well, for the first Escape Plan, I'll do 4 for
Okay.
Escape. 4 out of 5. 2, I liked them all, so I would give 2, 3, like maybe 2.5, and then 3 I would give maybe a, because I was entertained throughout. I mean,
Okay.
like I said, I enjoyed all 3 of them. They were good, but I still would say the first one's the best out of them.
Okay, so I'm going to change. I'll say 4 out of 5. This would be 3, and then this would be 2.5.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fair
I
enough.
think that's a better review. So, okay.
There you go.
All right. Groovy. All right, man. Well, thank you very much for being here. And thank you if you all made it to the end. We really do appreciate it. And then check us out next month for Expendables 1 through 4. And that should be an interesting one. So we'll have to figure out what Expendables do we want to do? I would say the director's cut. I do think it's a better movie. Unless we want to do both, kind of like what we did with Rocky, with like Rocky 4 and stuff. We watched 2 different versions of it, and then we could compare it. So, but we could talk about that. So, yeah. But okay, great. Yeah. So we'll talk about it. So, okay, everybody, thanks. I really appreciate it. Donald really appreciate it. I know I'm speaking for him, but as I'm sure he feels the same. And we will see you on the next, film discussion. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Take care, guys. See you next time.
Next time. Bye. Bye. Okay, there we go. I have no idea what we're doing now. You're doing the robot. All right, here we go.